Hey there, Bill Widmer here with sumo.com, and this is a complete step-by-step Shopify tutorial for beginners. If you follow along with me on this video, by the end of it, you'll have a finished Shopify store ready to publish. If you prefer text and pictures, go to sumo.com/Shopify-guide, and we've got a full written guide there for you with some extra tips and tricks that I'll mention more about in the video. So for now, head to shopify.com and hit the start free trial button, enter your email and password, and then your store name. This is what your My Shopify URL is going to be. So your store domain will be yourstorename.myshopify.com. This isn't your final store name. You can always change it later on, but you can't change your My Shopify URL. So make sure it's something that you're comfortable with. But at the same time, that doesn't matter too much either because you can always change your URL as well. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to log in because I already have an account. The next window you're going to see, it's going to ask you for some basic information, how much you are already making, or if you're not making any money, and a couple other questions and your address. Enter that in. That's just to help Shopify know what to send you in their newsletters. So you'll get some newsletters that explain how to do Shopify. It's like a tutorial thing. Based on what you put in there, that's what they'll send you in the email. So I'm going to go log in. I'll be right back. Okay, once you've made your account, you're going to see the dashboard page right here. You can see the store that I made here is called A Matcha Made in Heaven. We're going to be selling matcha tea. So the first thing I do whenever I create a new Shopify store is go to the settings. The first settings you want to set up are your general settings. On this page is where you can change your store name. Again, mine's A Matcha Made in Heaven. And then you can enter your account email and your customer email. So the account email, I recommend using an email that you check on a day-to-day basis. Basically, it's going to be Shopify sending you order confirmation emails and things like that. It's all private. Your customers don't see that. Whereas your customer email should be something like support@yoururl.com. So mine, I would want to make a support@amatchamadeinheaven.com. That's where the customers will contact you, obviously. The store address, this is where you can put the legal name of your business and your business's address. So you don't necessarily need to create an LLC or a C Corp or anything like that when you're first starting out. You can always start out with a sole proprietorship. You don't have to register anything with the government, at least not in the States, to start a sole proprietorship, at least when you're very first starting out. Now, disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. Make sure that you do your own research and everything. Talk to a lawyer if you need to before setting up any of the legal stuff. I'm just saying personally, when I first start a store, I don't necessarily create a legal name for it, only because you're not really making any money off of it, so it's not technically a business until you start making sales. And that's when you should worry about that. So we have the standard and formats down here. That's just your weight, your unit system. The prefix is the only thing I touch in this section. So your order ID will appear as 102, 103, etc. Basically, you want to change that to your store name's abbreviation. So Matcha Made in Heaven, MMH. Now it's MMH 1001, MMH 1002, etc. The reason I do that is because in case you start multiple stores, you can see your ID numbers and know, okay, this is from this store, this one's from this store, etc. Your store currency, you can leave that alone unless you want to change it. You're accepting different kinds of currencies, so there's that. Hit save when you're done with that and then go back to your settings. Next, we'll check out our payment providers. So on this page, you've got your Shopify payments. That's how you accept credit cards and debit cards. You do want to set that up, so hit complete account setup and go through that process. It's just providing your information so that way they know where to bill you and where to deposit any income that you make. Your PayPal account should already be set up at PayPal Express checkout. If not, you can set that up as well. And that's super easy to set up too, so that way people can purchase through PayPal. So complete account setup when you're ready. Go through this. Again, you're probably going to be an individual or sole proprietorship. The EIN number, which is basically if you have employees, that's how you tax your employees and a couple other things. So you probably won't need that, at least not to start. And then your business address. Your personal details go down here. And then the product description, product details, I like to just put retailer of, and then whatever products you're selling. So in this case, retailer of teas, or retailer of health goods, or something like that. It doesn't matter that much. It's just good to fill in. Then down here under customer billing statement, we have the statement descriptor, which basically is the text that shows up on the customer's billing statements. So you can see here, it's going to be SP for Shopify, and then a star or an asterisk, and then your store name. So you can change that if you want, or you can just leave it. I usually just leave it because it's usually pretty self-explanatory. And then your banking information. And then when you're done, just hit complete account setup. Obviously, I didn't fill this out, so I'm not going to do it right now. but that should finish it up for you. Go back to your settings, and we're going to go to the checkout settings. So the customer accounts, by default, the accounts are disabled is checked off. Rather than that, I like to change it to accounts are optional. That way, if customers want to, they can create an account to save their credit card information and have easier checkouts. So that's always a good thing. Customer contact, I usually leave this alone. And then you can add an option for customers to receive shipping updates. But obviously, if you don't have a tracking code, you don't handle the shipments, you don't want to give them that option. Down here under the form options, I like to require first and last name because this last name only is checked by default. Company name, you can change that to optional or required if you have any B2B transactions, business to business. So let's say you're selling office supplies or something and another business is going to be buying from you rather than just an individual. You can give them the option of providing their company name so that way they can write it off on their taxes at the end of the year. Address line 2, self-explanatory. So the next thing I changed down here under additional scripts for order processing, this is where you put any Google Analytics tracking code or Facebook Pixel conversion tracking code. And I talk more about that on the text version of this guide at sumo.com/Shopify-guide if you want more information on that. Under email marketing, I do like to check off pre-select the sign-in option. That makes things a lot easier to accumulate emails. So that way, when someone buys something, they automatically get signed up for your email list unless they uncheck the email marketing option. So that's an easy way to get more emails, and then obviously your language, and then just hit save and then go back to your settings. So next we're going to go into our shipping settings. This will show you your shipping from address and then your shipping zones. So you've got domestic shipping, which is in my case the United States, and then this is all weight based. So from 0 to 0.99 pounds, standard shipping is free. From 0 to 0.99 pounds, expedited shipping is $6.90. And then above a pound, up to 5 pounds, it's $4.90, etc. You get the idea. So if you want to do weight-based shipping, you can just leave that alone or customize it to whatever you want. To edit that, just hit the edit button here. You can name it whatever you want. I usually just leave it as domestic. And then you can edit the countries or the states that you actually deliver to for this particular shipping option. And then I like to do free shipping in an order range. So you add rate, and then you can name your shipping whatever you want, standard, expedited, free, etc. And then you can do it based on a minimum order price. So if they order, say, $50, then they can get free shipping. So that way you increase your average order value because say someone buys something from your store, they're spending $40, but you have free shipping at $50. That gives them an incentive to spend an extra $10+ to get that free shipping from you. So I do recommend doing that. Or you can just do free shipping on all orders, or you can do it based on weight, which you have to set up in the actual product. Once you enter a new product, you can enter the weight of that product, and that's how Shopify will calculate it. Or you can do it based on pre-calculated rates. So you can actually set up your Shopify store with a USPS account, and they will calculate the shipping rates for you. So that way the customer pays exactly what it would cost you for the shipping. So whatever you decide to do with that, I do recommend playing with the numbers, testing out different things to seeing what works for you. Make sure you hit save and then go back to your settings. Okay, so the next thing we want to look at is our account settings. And this is where you add staff accounts. So let's say you have a virtual assistant or employee or contractor or something like that. You can enter their name and email, and then you can give them full permission to edit everything. Or say you have a blog editor and you just want them to edit your blog posts, you can check that off. And then once you send that, it'll actually send an invite to their email. Once you're done adding staff accounts, go back to your settings, and we're going to go into the legal section. So on this page, you'll have your refund policy, privacy policy, and terms of service policy. Shopify has an ability to create an actual templated version of all these. So you click that and it'll actually auto-generate all of this for you. That's good when you're first starting off, but once you are making some money from this, I do recommend actually going to a lawyer and having them look over this stuff just in case. You can never be too safe with this kind of thing. So auto-generate all of your policies, and then we're going to actually create pages for them so people can actually see them. So I like to right-click the online store, open it in a new tab, then you click on Pages, Add Page, and then you call it Refund Policy, Control-A or Command-A, and then Control-C or Command-C if you're on Mac to copy, and then Control-V or Command-V to paste, and then just hit Save, and then we're going to copy our privacy policy, create another page, paste that in there, hit save, copy the terms of service, create another page, save, and then that's it. So now all of our legal pages are set up. So that's it for your regular settings that you want to set up. However, there are also preferences for your online store, and I want to talk about those really quick. So that's your meta title and your meta description. So if we open a new tab and we type in shoes, you'll see this is the meta title, and then this is the meta description, this text down here. Of course, those are ads, so the organic results, this is the meta title, this is the meta description. Some tips when you're writing these: try to fit the keyword that you're trying to rank for in there, and also try to use power words like free shipping. Try and make your result look more enticing than the other results by using copywriting and offering free shipping or a discount or something like that to get yours clicked on above the ads or above someone who might be ranking higher than you. So for my example, I've got a matcha made in heaven, world's best matcha tea. Looking for the world's best matcha tea? Our tea is 100% organic and sourced from the very best Camellia sinensis plants. You will love it and at a great price. And I have no idea if I pronounced that correctly or not. But you get the idea. It's 100% organic, sourced from the best plants, great price, all of those kinds of keywords that get people to click and want to buy. Your Google Analytics is how you will actually see who is visiting your site and from where. So you can paste your Google Analytics code in there, and then your Facebook Pixel ID does the same thing except for traffic from Facebook and other sources rather than anywhere where Google Analytics is. So if you have your Facebook Pixel ID set up, and I do recommend doing that, anytime someone visits your site, you'll have their Facebook ID in order to retarget to them. So if they visit a product and they leave your site, you can actually retarget them with a Facebook ad that actually shows that product and says, hey, we saw you looking at this, here's a discount on it or something, to try and get them back to your store. And I have more information on how to set both of these things up at sumo.com/Shopify-guide. So now down here is the password protection. We'll come back to that, but basically right now your store is password protected in order for anybody to get there until you remove that password protection. So that way anybody can visit your store. The other two pages that I want to talk about are your About page and your Contact page. So to add a page, again, we go to that Add page. I actually already have the Contact and About pages here. So the Contact page, and you can call it Contact, Contact Us, whatever you prefer. And in order to turn it into a Contact page, down here where it says Template, this is normally Page, change it to Page.contact, and that will add a form onto your page. However, if you have no text in here, the form will be blank. So it'll have the form, but it won't say anything above it. So for example, this text, because that's in here, that shows up here. And then it's got the form underneath. So some things that I like to mention are how quickly the customer or whoever's trying to contact you can expect you to respond. So I have within 24 hours. 24 hours is usually pretty good for email. And then I also recommend, if you have a number for customers to call you, mention that on here too. So if it's an emergency, please call us at da-da-da-da-da. Maybe include your store hours or your customer support hours or something like that, so people don't try calling you at midnight or 2 in the morning or whatever and expecting an answer. You can also say, thanks for contacting us, that kind of thing. And then I think if you do that, it should remove or add a space. Yeah, okay, so now there's a space there as opposed to here. It's like really close. So you can do that. And then after you're done with the Contact page, go back to your pages and add that About page. Now on your About page, I do have more information on this linked up in the text guide. However, some things I recommend are talking about your story, your mission, why you created the company, what about this product inspires you, like why are you interested in this particular product. Just be real with people, tell your story and be transparent and authentic, and people will love that. So once you've got your About Us page and your Contact page and all your legal pages set up, now it's time to edit your site's navigation. So go to Navigation, and you've got your footer menu and your main menu. So edit the main menu, and you're going to add a menu item. So we've already got the About Us and Contact Us, but let's say they're not here. So we've got Add Menu Item, go to Link, Pages, About Us. Then you can add it, and you can rename it to just About if you want. Same thing with the Contact page, and now they're on here. And you'll notice this says Shop. Yours probably says Collection if you're following along. You can just edit that and rename it whatever you want. So I prefer the word Shop rather than Collection or Catalog or anything like that. Make sure you save it when you're done. Go back to your navigation, go down to the footer menu, and now we've got our footer menu, which includes a button to search, which we actually have a search bar on the site, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And we've got privacy, refund, and terms of service. So to add those, same thing. Add menu item, pages, privacy policy, and then do the same thing for the other ones. Now you'll notice if we view the site with this little eyeball, of course you're not going to have the logo and you're not going to have the slider here or anything like that yet, but we've got our navigation items here. And you can rearrange these however you want. Like if you want to put the contact page first or whatever, you can do that. And I also recommend removing the home button because most people know you can just click on the logo to go home. So you don't really need it over here as well. It's kind of redundant. And then down at the bottom, underneath the links, we've got search, which I just removed. So it shouldn't actually, oh, maybe I didn't save it. See, that's why you got to save. So we'll refresh it. So under links, we've got privacy policy, refund policy, terms of service. So now we're starting to look like a real store. We've got some actual navigation items and the things that people would expect a real store to have. So the next thing you want to do is create a theme for your store. So I really like the minimal theme, and I'll show you how to get that in just a second. But if you come down here and hit visit the theme store, you'll actually be able to browse all of the different themes. And there's like thousands of different themes. If you want some of the recommendations that I have, go to sumo.com/Shopify-guide. I actually recommend 3 different ones. One of the ones I recommend is called Minimal. This theme is, like its name, minimal. It's also free, which is great. And it's nice and clean. It's modern. It's everything you would want in a Shopify theme, just with no bells and whistles, easy to use. So go to the theme that you're thinking about getting, and you can also view a demo if you want to see what it looks like. Some of them have styles. I like the modern style for this one, and hit add theme. Okay, now that we've added the theme, as soon as this finishes loading, we're going to load it up. And to do that, you're probably not going to see minimal here. You're going to see the default theme. It begins with a D, a debut. So come down to your themes down here. Next to the one that you want to use, hit actions, and then publish. Now don't worry, your store is password protected, so no one's going to see your empty, ugly store. Now you should see it up here, and then hit customize. So depending on which theme you chose, there's going to be different customization options, but it's still going to look relatively the same to this, and a lot of the things I'm going to show you here are going to be exactly the same. So let me get started and show you how I might edit this theme. Okay, so the first thing you do is go to header and upload your logo. Now you can show your search bar or not show your search bar. I do recommend leaving that turned on if you have the option, but if you don't have a logo, go to hatchful.shopify.com, and I'll leave a link to that in the description below. And you can actually create a logo completely for free. So just hit get started. It'll ask you to pick an industry. I'm just going to randomly choose some. A visual style. This is how it determines the look and feel of your logo. Pick 3, hit next. Your business name is obviously your business name, and then a slogan you can include if you want, but it's optional. And it'll actually include that within the logo. Hit next. I like to choose just online store, website, and social media because the rest of this is more for a physical business. Hit next. And then we can choose from any of the logos here. I already have one created. I actually use this one, and I changed out the icon, the color, and the font. So you can change almost everything. The only thing you can't change is the way the background kind of looks. You can change it a little bit, but not a lot. So don't worry about the icon or the colors or anything like that. Go based on the overall look. So say, okay, I like this box with an icon here and the text in the middle. Pick that then. You can change the icon, you can change the font. None of the rest you can change though, so keep that in mind. So I already did this, go through, it's totally free, and then they'll send the download to your email. So I have this logo here, and I've already edited it. You'll notice it might, like in this case, it's centered and it's way too small. So for the width, I can change that. I've actually found 140 to be good for this particular logo. Now, if you don't like it centered like that, you can also come down here and left align it and then uncheck center main menu. And then I kind of like this better, I think. Yeah, we'll go with that. So another thing you can do, if you notice that the logo is pushing the top and this slider down and up, there's too much space around it, you can actually edit it either with Paint or if you prefer a free editing software called GIMP, G-I-M-P, and you can just slim it down so that way it's smaller. So once you've got your logo and it looks the right size, the right color, and all that kind of stuff, go down and you can show the announcement bar if you want, which is just this here. I like to make it say something like, say you're doing that free shipping on orders over $50. You can advertise that there, and then you can actually add a link. So say you want that to go to your product page. You can show all your products right from there, and then they click on it and it'll take them to your product page, or you can leave it blank. Once you're done with that, go back. Now we're going to edit the slideshow here, and this particular slideshow, I'm using a tool called GreenShot, which actually lets me take screenshots of sections, but I'm using it right now to see. So the average slider is 972 by 370 pixels. So keep that in mind and come over to canva.com. This is a free tool you can use to design images. So we said 972 by 3 something or other. I forget what it was now, but I already made one down here. So it was 970 by 350. So I actually cut off the 2. And if we go back, I'll show you how to do that. So in the top right, custom dimensions, 970 by 350, I think it was. So then you'll have an untitled design. You can click up here to change the name of it. I do recommend using keywords. Don't keyword stuff, but just say like matcha tea or something like that. Don't use 10 different variants just to name the image so that way Google knows what it is. And you can pick a template from over here. What I actually did to create this one is I found an image on Unsplash. So Unsplash is a site where you can get free high-resolution photos. I just typed in matcha tea, and then I found one that I liked, which was this one here. So what I do recommend when you download an image, run it through tiny PNG. So you can actually run JPEGs and PNG images through this, and it will compress them to reduce their file size without really harming your quality of picture. And that way it loads a lot faster. So I already ran it through there and I uploaded it to this. However, you'll notice it's a little bit darker here compared to this picture. Well, it's not that easy to tell, but basically the text that I added above here, which you can go here and then hit add text or add a heading, and then change the text to whatever you want, change it to the color that you want, the size, the font. So I'm going to use Open Sans. There we go. So Open Sans, and then I changed the size to 36 here. And the background was just a little too bright, so I adjusted it. Now you'll see at the regular brightness, it's a little bit harder to see that, so I darkened it a bit, so that way it's easier to see. And then you can adjust this text to wherever you want, and try and find an image with some empty space. Like you'll see this one could even use a bit more. So if we move it over, there we go, we got a little bit of extra. And then when you're done with that and you like the way that it looks, hit the little download button up here. I do recommend the PNG for photos with text on them, just because if you do JPEG, the text looks a little grainy. Once you download it, run it through tiny PNG, and then come back to your site, go to slideshow. I like to turn off auto rotate slides. It's actually better for conversions. ConversionXL.com ran a study on that and found that people who saw automatically rotating sliders tended not to click on them or get confused by them. They're just not very good for user experience, so I don't recommend them. So just leave it on blank so it doesn't auto rotate. The slide, you can select the image. I already have it right here, so I'll just pop it right in, and boom, there you go. So now we've got our winter sale, buy one, get one matcha teas, and then they can click on that. And actually, I do recommend adding like a button here. Now there is no specific button. You could add something like this, but I'm talking about like a shop now or something like that. So to create that, we'll say square, grab one like this, change the inner color to something that'll stand out that also fits your brand's colors. So we're doing like a darker green, something to kind of match the color of matcha tea. And then the outside, we might make the same color, but just a bit darker to make it look more like a button. And then put it down here. And then we'll add some text. We'll just copy this so it's the same font, shop now. And I don't know why it changed color like that, but we'll make it all white. There we go. Now, obviously, if you spend some more time on this, you can make it look a little bit prettier. But for the sake of speed, we're just going to download this as is. And then don't forget to run it through your tiny PNG. There's also an app for Shopify called Crush.pix that you can use to do this automatically, but there is a small fee associated. So if you're really trying to bootstrap this thing, you might not want to go that route. So there we go. Now it's got a nice shop now button, so it makes it obvious that it's clickable. And again, there's so much more you can do to design this thing, but just for the sake of speed and showing you how it works, I'm just going to leave it like that. There's also free images you can use that Shopify gives you if you want to use those. So now we've got our slides set up, and of course you can add more. Down here is our collection list. This just shows collections of products, which I'll show you how to create later. For now, we'll just leave it as is. You can select the home page collection, and then it'll show you products that you want on your home page. So we'll go back and then go down to newsletter. The newsletter you can change, maybe give away something like a guide or a PDF or a checklist or a worksheet or something like that to get people to subscribe, or even a discount. Say, subscribe to our newsletter and get 10% off your first order or something like that. You can change that in here. And then I do recommend setting that up with some sort of email marketing tool. I'm going to show you how to use Sumo. However, I do recommend something like ConvertKit or something like that to actually collect them and send emails to them. Once you're done with that, the last thing is the footer. Now down here, you'll see the latest news, links, follow us, etc. So for the news, that's where it shows all the latest blog posts that you may have written. Obviously, they don't only have to be news-based, but Shopify does make that latest news rather than blog posts or anything like that. And you can add, if you want, a section in here for your blog posts. So if you want to add a section, you can add an image gallery, another slideshow, a featured product, your newsletter, a map if you have a physical location, or even a video. So you can add on all kinds of stuff. Back to your footer. Your payment icons, you can turn that on or off. I do recommend leaving it on just because it kind of builds trust with your visitors. They know that you're able to take American Express, PayPal, Apple Pay, and all these other things. Your menu is your links. So we've got privacy policy, refund policy, terms of service, and you can call that whatever you want. I'd usually just leave it at links. Then, of course, you've got your social icons and your newsletter. And the social icons you actually have to set up in your general settings, which we looked at earlier. So that's it for customizing your theme. There are some other things you can do, like in your theme settings, you can change the layout. If you want to enable a wide layout, which actually gets rid of the sidebars, or you can leave it and then not include a sidebar. So whatever you decide to do with that. Your colors, of course, you want to have brand colors. Depending on what kind of personality you want to give your brand, you should stick with the same colors. You can change that. So you can also change your typography. For font, I do like Open Sans. I feel like it's really easy to read, especially on mobile devices. And you can change the base size to whatever you want. I do like the 17 pixel because that's the largest you can go and it's the easiest to read. And it still doesn't look too large. I would even go 18 pixel if I could. So the heading, I like to go with basic commercial here for mine. So that's what this looks like. But you can choose whatever you want. I have a base size of 30 pixels. I think that looks nice. The navigation and buttons, again, I have that Open Sans and I changed it to 16 pixels. I think it was like 14 or 12 before and it was just way too small. So I do like these 16 pixels. And then you can choose to capitalize the text or space the letters out. I have it capitalized but not spaced out. I think it looks nice like this. So next is your favicon. So that's basically this little icon right here that shows up in your browser tabs. To create that, go to Canva and do a 32 by 32 size pixel, and you can do your logo or like a simplified version of your logo or whatever you want to do for that. Social media, again, you can set that up either here or in the general settings. I have it set up here. So, and then that'll show up down here in your follow us section. So we've got the Twitter handle because I put the Twitter link in the social media settings here. Your checkout settings, that's where you can create a background image behind the checkout screen. You can also add your logo. So I do recommend doing that to customize your checkout page a little bit. And then you can choose the position of it and edit the main content area with a different background image, background color. And then you can change the color of the form fields even too from white to transparent if you want to. Order summary, so that's the next page after they check out, their summary page. And then you can change the typography, which I'm going to go back to my Open Sans, and Helvetica is that's fine as well. That's also a nice clean one like Open Sans. You can change the colors of the links, the buttons, and the error messages. You can either create the buttons to look like the same color as the buttons on all of your other pages, or you can leave it like this and make sure that it blends in well with these checkout page. And for the checkout settings, of course, you can click here and go back to set up the checkout settings there. And now you're done editing your theme. Once you like the look of it, now it's time to actually add some products. So this is where things start to really get fun. At your product page, you just hit the Add Product button in the top right. And then on this page, you can title your product and add a description. I do recommend using your keyword in the title. So we've got 100% organic matcha tea. And then in the description, you want to highlight the benefits. So someone who is buying this, what are they really buying? Obviously, they're not buying some powder that they can put in a drink. What they're buying is the feeling that they're drinking something organic that's really healthy for them, that will help them with their cholesterol or whatever it is, you know? So start with the benefits. Sell them on the story, the thing that they want at the end, the reason they're buying this. Sell them on that, and then add in the features and the exact details below that. And again, this is going to go below your buy button. So you can really make this as long as you want since it's underneath and it won't push your button below the fold. Right now, I'm at the top of the screen. Anything below this screen is below the fold because I have to scroll down to get to it. Product availability, you can manage that. Say you have a Facebook store, you can add this to your Facebook store or only show it on your online store or whatever. You have to set that up. Organization, the product type would be the type of product that it is. So for this example, it would be tea. So we've already got tea. And then the vendor typically would just be whatever your site is. But if you are getting the product from a specific vendor, like a wholesale supplier or something like that, you can actually type in their vendor name into here, and then the customer can see that, oh, that's from this vendor. So that's if you're doing like brand name stuff. Collections, you can add this to a collection, like the homepage collection, for example, or you can set up automatic collections so that way anytime you tag or have a certain product type or from a certain vendor, you can set up an automatic collection. So anybody with that type, that vendor, or that tag will automatically be added to that collection. So the tags, again, I would do like tea, matcha tea. If it was shoes, you could do like, I don't know, boots, moccasins, flats, whatever. So those could be your tags. And then your images, this is super, super important. Your images have to be really, really good. That's what's going to really make you stand out from everyone else. Your vendor is likely going to have some images that you can use right from their store or their website. However, I found that most of the time your supplier's images aren't really the best. Or if they are good, you know, you only get like one of them from one angle. Ideally, what you should do is order that product for yourself, test it out so you can write a better description and make sure it's a good, high quality product, and then take your own pictures of it. We do have a product photography guide, and there's the link to that at sumo.com/shopify-guide. Okay, next, after your images are all set up, we've got pricing. So the price here is the actual price that it's going to be. So let's say it's $14.99. The compare at price is the price that will be shown next to it, and it'll be crossed out. So this is basically something called price anchoring. So when people see a higher price and it's crossed out and then they see a lower price, they're more likely to buy it because they think they're getting a deal, which, you know, depending on your morals, you do or don't want to have a compare at price. Maybe you are actually giving them a deal. That's up to you to decide, but this is just a feature that you can use. Cost per item, that's for internal reasons. If you want to track how much each item is costing you compared to how much you're selling it for, you can track that in here. Your customers won't see that. I do recommend leaving the check on charge taxes on this product because Shopify will charge taxes for you automatically, and then that keeps you off the hook for taxes. Your inventory settings, you can actually create your own SKU for a product. I never really do, but if you have a lot of inventory and you need to keep track of it, then you can do that in here. You can set the policy so that way Shopify tracks that product's inventory. So if you are shipping your own inventory and you're using Shopify to manage that inventory, then you can use that and then set this. Say you have 5 in stock. There you go. After 5 are sold, that product will be considered out of stock. You can also allow customers to purchase the product when it's out of stock, and it'll basically go into back order. So they ordered it, it's out of stock, it's in back order until you get it in stock, and then they automatically get the product when you get some in stock. Otherwise, you can just not track inventory and then just do it manually yourself or through your dropshipper or whatever inventory system you have set up. For your shipping, you can check off whether or not it's a physical product as opposed to like an online course or something like that. Here's where you can set the weight. This is where it's important for shipping. So if you're doing weight-based shipping rates, you have to make sure you get the weight correct in this area. The international code, that's if you're shipping overseas, you have to have an HS tariff code. Most of you don't have to worry about that. I don't recommend shipping overseas until you've got some experience and done some research on that. Then you've got your fulfillment service, which by default is Shopify. If you want a third-party fulfillment service, you can get that. There are apps through the Shopify App Store, which we're going to look at in a minute, and we'll go through that. There are variants. So let's say you're selling t-shirts, right? So you can have different sizes, small, medium, large, etc. You can have different colors. You can have different styles like V-neck versus, cut off or whatever. For this case, I actually have the matcha powder, so I might have different amounts. So we might have like a 16 ounce. I don't even know what matcha powder is measured by, but we'll go with ounces. So 16, 32. And then down here, you'll see the variants, so you can change the pricing. So let's say the 16 ounce is $14.99, but the 32 ounce is, say, $24.99. So they're getting a deal by getting the 32 ounce, and they can, if they don't need that much, they can get the 16 ounce instead. The search engine listing preview, that's again that meta title and meta description. And again, I do recommend having your keyword in there. I already created this product on a separate page with this information filled in, and I'll show you that. Next, we have the URL and handle. So this is going to be, we're going to change our domain name. So it's not .myshopify.com, but it will still end in /products. And then you type in whatever you want the URL to be. I do recommend keeping this short and sweet and descriptive, and preferably adding your keyword in. So we've got matcha tea, or maybe we're trying to rank for organic matcha tea, something like that. And then when you're done, make sure you hit save product. And I'll just show you really quick what my finished product looks like, because I have entered it already. So right here, we've got 100% organic matcha tea. We've got maybe a little paragraph followed by some bullet points. Then we've got the image here of the organic matcha tea, and we've got our variants set up, and then we've got 100% organic matcha tea BOGO sale. So that's a way to try and get them to click on my result over somebody else's, because it's buy one, get one. And then you can enter in your description, get your 100% organic matcha tea for half price when you buy one. So you can make that a little bit longer. I think the max is like 160 characters or something for the description, and then the title is 60 characters. But I do recommend keeping it short and sweet if you can. Once you're done with the products, the next thing to look at is your product collections. So you can see I already created one called tea, and I'll show you how I did that. And then this is the homepage one, which you should already have set up, and you can just set that up so that way any products in the homepage collection show up on your homepage. So create collection. So now you'll be able to name your collection. So you can name it matcha tea or shoes or a certain kind of shoes. I don't know why shoes are on my mind, but there you go. You can add a description if you want, but you don't have to. This will actually push all of the products down on the page, and you'll see a description before you see the products. You can create a collection image if you want to showcase them on your homepage. You can have like a picture of all of the products in a certain category or something like that. And then the collection type, you can do automated or manual. Manual, you have to obviously manually add products to the collection. But with automated, you can, based on conditions, automatically add products to a certain collection. So let's say we want the product tag is equal to tea, and then it automatically adds any of our products that have tea. So next, we've got the search engine listing preview again, which is the title and the description, and then the URL handle. And that's it. Now you've got your collections. So make sure you have a title and then hit save. And then the next thing we'll talk about is our discount codes. And we've already got one here. So basically you hit create discount. You can name the code whatever you want, or you can generate a code. Then the options, you can do it based on percentage, a fixed amount, free shipping. Next up, we have countries, which basically you can exclude countries, use specific countries for the coupon code or whatever you want to do. Shipping rates, basically if someone has over $50 in shipping, you can't use this coupon code. That's how that works. Minimum purchase amounts or minimum quantity of items, pretty self-explanatory. And then down here, you can set the start and end date if it's only during a specific holiday or something like that. And then make sure you hit save. Now you've got your code. Well, of course, I didn't finish entering in the details, but you should have your code if you did this. And then next, I want to show you your order page. So on your order page, this is where you manage all of your orders. Anytime you get an order, it'll show up here, and you can set the status to shipped or to delivered or to paid, or whatever. This is where you manage all of your orders, is on your order page. Then we've got our analytics, which is similar to Google Analytics. It'll show you some of your traffic numbers. But the real good thing about this analytics is that it'll show you the total number of sales or online store sessions that you are actually getting. So let's say you have 10 different products. You can actually go here and see which of those products is converting the best. So I definitely recommend getting familiar with this page. Next, we've got apps. So apps are going to be super important. As you can see, I've got Crush.pix and Sumo installed already. Crush.pix is that one that image compresses, so that way it speeds up your website. So Sumo is how you add a discount pop-up to your store, so you can start collecting emails and avoid any cart abandonment, so you can get more people to buy. So to add an app, go to the App Store. And some apps that I recommend besides Sumo and Crush.pix are Yotpo, YOTPO, because they have customer reviews. And obviously that's something your store is really going to need. Customer reviews really help your visitors to trust your store, and they increase conversion rates. So you can see that right here. To install that, just click on it and then hit Add App. And I've got a few more app recommendations over at sumo.com/Shopify-guide if you want to check that out. So once you land on this page, you can review the details that they're getting access to, and then just hit Install App. And of course, for this particular app, you have to set up your username and password and all that stuff, but I'm not going to do that right now. So that's it. Now that you've got your product set up and you've got your site looking the way you want it to, you're basically ready. You just have to select a plan. I'll show you that really quick. There's 3 different plans. There's basic, then there's Shopify, and then there's advanced. I recommend the basic plan. The main difference between the 3 of these is the credit card rates. So basically, anytime you make a sale, you are charged 2.9% plus 30 cents for this one, 2.6% and 2.4%. I did the math, and for the regular Shopify plan to be worth it, you basically have to be making $20,000 a month in sales or more to equate to that extra $50 difference. So I do recommend starting with the basic Shopify plan. You do get some other things for choosing this plan, but for the most part, start with the basic until you've learned the ropes and you're making some money and you're ready to invest in the higher plan. And that's it. You've created your store. Congratulations. This is a huge first step. Of course, you're only just starting your journey. You still have to learn about marketing and how to actually make sales, but you really should give yourself a pat on the back. Most people don't even make it this far. So congratulations. Good luck. If you have any questions, leave a comment down in the box below, and I will answer them as soon as I can.